I'd do anything for you. If you don't believe me, well, you don't gotta. Because I'm gonna prove it to you. Just don't give up on me.
Ever wonder what would happen if Gotham's notorious criminal, the Penguin, really embraced the monster within? The final episode of the season finally answers this question in the most jaw-dropping way possible. Here, Oz, our infamously likable villain, plummets into an abyss of betrayal, cold-hearted murder, and delusion, all while seizing the reins of Gotham's underworld. The episode presents a brutal yet strangely captivating look at what makes Oz tick, and what ultimately makes him snap. But at what cost? And what does this mean for the future of Gotham? And how about the inevitable Batman sequel? Join me, dear viewer, as I dive back into the raging dumpster fire that is modern Hollywood. Before we dive in, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button, and if you really want to make sure you never miss out, ring that notification bell too. It'll help us break through the YouTube algorithm and keep this channel growing strong. If you're new to this episode or even the show, be prepared. A Great or Little Thing is far from your typical comic book adaptation. No capes, no moral high ground, just raw ambition, survival, and the gritty reality of villainous power. The plot of the episode is dark and twisted, with more than one moment that might make you wonder, did he really just do that? Let's take a moment to go over the plot for a second. After an intense interrogation where Oz is forced to confront his mother Frances over the deaths of his brothers, things take a devastating turn. When the truth of his actions is outed by Sophia Falcone, who uses Oz's mother to break him down emotionally, Oz refuses to admit guilt. The scene spirals out of control as Frances, unable to bear the reality of her son's monstrous side, disowns him before suffering a debilitating stroke. Oz manages to escape Sophia's clutches, but not without burning bridges with his allies in the criminal underworld. As these bosses abandon him for Sophia, a shrewd Vic arranges for them to be murdered, proving his loyalty to Oz one last time. But Oz's gratitude only goes so far. When he later visits his mother's hospital bedside with Vic, he decides his protege has seen too much. And just like that, Oz kills Vic, severing his last tie to anything resembling loyalty or trust. The episode closes in classic Penguin style, with Oz dancing in his luxurious new penthouse, his mother's memory haunting him as he spins with his Lady of the Night, dressed to eerily resemble Frances. But this isn't a victory dance. It's the delusional twirl of a man who has won everything he wanted, only to lose himself in the process. Oz killing Vic is no ordinary betrayal. This is the moment that firmly establishes Oz's total transformation into an untethered, ruthless kingpin. Vic, who loyally orchestrated the massacre of Oz's enemies and faithfully stood by him, represented the last shred of Oz's humanity. The fact that Oz murders Vic simply because he knows too much says it all. By eliminating Vic, Oz is effectively killing his own heart, choosing power and dominance over any human connection that might reveal weakness. The showrunner described this decision as the moment Oz decides to embrace the monster that he is. It's Oz's way of saying, I have no friends, no loved ones, just power. In a way, Vic's death is Oz's brutal declaration of independence from any emotional vulnerability. This isn't just a man protecting his empire, it's a man so terrified of vulnerability that he would rather murder than be seen as weak, and in Gotham, that's probably a smart move. One of the episode's most striking achievements is how it showcases Oz's talent for manipulating Gotham's power structures. With Sophia Falcone putting a bounty on his head, Oz deftly turns the tables, positioning himself as the mastermind of a hostile takeover. The massacre of Sophia's allies, orchestrated by Vic but enabled by Oz, serves as his grand entrance into Gotham's political stage. This isn't just about crime anymore. Oz is cementing himself as a political force, blending crime with influence in a way that makes him untouchable. And honestly, it's kind of genius. Instead of brute force alone, Oz uses fear and loyalty to dismantle Sophia's network, effectively neutralizing her threat without getting his own hands too dirty. His maneuvering here is Shakespearean. He's part Richard III with a prosthetic nose, part Machiavelli in a pinstripe suit. It's easy to see why Gotham's criminals and crooked cops are rallying behind him. He isn't just a kingpin, he's Gotham's underworld royalty. It's a performance worth praising, even if Oz's final actions make it hard to root for him. A major element that makes the final episode of the season so compelling is the revelation that Frances, Oz's own mother, has always known about his dark past. She knew he murdered his brothers, yet she stayed silent, watching as her son became the very monster she feared. In a way, this knowledge becomes a sort of curse. Frances's disapproval of Oz is what pushes him further down the path of destruction. The stroke she suffers right after disowning him is almost symbolic, representing the collapse of any remnants of maternal love and guidance in his life. In Oz's world, love is twisted, conditional, and ultimately unattainable. Frances's rejection in her final moments serves as a grim confirmation of Oz's own worst fears about himself, that he is, and always has been, a monster. It's a heartbreaking moment, and it's one of the few times we see Oz truly affected by someone else's opinion. The fact that he cannot handle this truth without spiraling into violence says everything about his character. The finale doesn't just give us insight into Oz's psyche, it paints a vivid picture of Gotham as a city where monsters thrive. The atmosphere is thick with dread and power plays, making it clear that Gotham itself is just as much of a character in this story as Oz is. The directors and writers have created an environment that mirrors Oz's descent into madness, with every corner of the city reflecting his warped sense of triumph and despair. Yet for all its bleakness, the episode is strangely satisfying. The Penguin is the rare show that doesn't force a redemption arc or a happy ending. Instead, it shows us the cost of unchecked ambition and the danger of a world where monsters are left to roam freely. Oz is both villain and victim, a man who wants to be feared but also craves love, and ultimately gets neither. The series finale feels like the perfect setup. Oz has solidified his status as Gotham's kingpin, but at the expense of everything that once grounded him. He's killed his closest allies, alienated his family, and drowned himself in delusion. His dance with Eve, dressed as his mother, is a haunting symbol of his fractured psyche. He's literally waltzing with his own madness. So what does this mean for Gotham? The answer is simple: nothing good. Oz may be triumphant, but he's lost in his own monstrous vision of himself. As he stares out at Gotham with the bat signal looming in the sky, we're left to wonder, how long can a monster truly hold on to power before someone, somewhere, finally steps in? And this is what makes the setup for the Batman 2 all that much more satisfying. My only question is, will Robert Pattinson return as the Caped Crusader? But what do you guys think about all this? Would you like to see the Penguin as the villain of the next movie? And what did you think about this series overall? Please do let me know down below in the comments, and as always, hit that like button, ring that notification bell, and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okie dokie.